Hello beauties, I hope you're doing amazing. Today I'm going to talk about 6 palettes that have been discontinued that I wish the brands would not have discontinued them. If that sounds good to you, as always, give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, go ahead and press the subscribe button. Let's go into the video. Okay beauties, I got the idea from Rachel Palmieri, who is making similar videos on YouTube. I'm going to tag her channel in the description box below. Figured I have to shout out to her because she sort of gave me the idea. I do want to mention that I did this look with Sickly Sweet from Blend Bunny. I'm thinking about putting a how-to of it as a short. Write to me in the comments below if you want to see that. The 6 brand I'm going to mention are palettes that are not collabs, because I felt like collab would be a little bit of cheating, because obviously collabs are going to be discontinued, and obviously I want them to come back, because if I purchase something from a collaborator, chances are I love the collaborator. I'm going to do another one with collabs as well, but this one is just regular palettes. So let's go. Number 1 is the Naughty palette from BH Cosmetics, and I think this is the only one that I have that is also one of the ones that Rachel had in her listing. This, if you have been watching my channel, you know this is one of my favorite palettes. I have talked about this palette in past videos and rankings and so on. This is my favorite all-time Christmas palette, and honestly I feel like this is the only Christmas palette I still have. If I've had other Christmas palettes, they have been decluttered, because this is so not a Christmas palette, but it is a Christmas palette. Like, obviously the name is Naughty, obviously everything about the packaging screams Christmas, and the names are all Christmas. It's like Santa Baby, Very Merry, Cole, Ho Ho Ho. I mean, obviously. However, the color story is very applicable to any time of the year, and I love the quality of this. It could have been a little smaller, but I don't care. I love this palette. I feel like this is one of those palettes I'm not going to get rid of. I do want to call out that it does have 2 glitters, but it never bothered me. I love the color story in this as well. It's been very nice, and I have used this and brought it back all the time, and I can get a variety of looks using this. Number 2 beauties is Dark Fantasy from Beauty Bay France. This was their holiday palette of last year, although this is so not holiday. Like, you know how they always do a palette this time of the year, and they've done one this time as well that's out, like it was released last week. I already saw some people putting reviews of that on their channels. I can't claim that this one was my favorite of all of the ones that they have released, but this is definitely the one that I think was extremely unique, and if they wanted to bring something back, it would be this one. Because I think with the other ones you could find dupes in other palettes that were released, but this palette, just look at the color story, is insanely unique. And I have a review of this palette, not that you care anymore because you can't get your hands on this palette, but just mention that to say that in my review I figured out a way to make this palette work. As in, you know, when you look at this palette, it's very difficult to figure out what to do. And in that video, I describe how I went about figuring out how to use this in different eye looks. And honestly, this palette totally is a grungy fall palette, and I'm so gonna use it now. Beauties, if you're watching my channel, I do want to remind you I'm doing 31 days of fall looks, and I have pulled this palette out to do at least one fall look in those 31 days for you all. I'm doing this throughout October. I do 1 look a day on Instagram, and if you want to see all the different looks that I have done, check out my Instagram channel. Link is in the description box below. The next palette is my favorite Colourpop palette of all times. Yes, you heard that right. And I know it's insanely difficult to pick one Colourpop palette as favorite. And if you all have been following me for some time, you should already know which one this is, because I even duped this last year, and that is no other than Good Sport. Yes, beauties, this palette came out in 2018, and yes, I've been buying stuff from Colourpop for that long. But look at the color story here. I don't know if it's very obvious because the background is very red, so it might be kind of distracting. But you have very grungy greens here. You have very nice purples, and then you have brick orange, some very interesting shimmers. Like this shimmer up here is one of those shimmers you don't get very often. It has a super unique orange shade that looks like it has like purple sparkles in it, or purple glitters. I don't want to use the term glitter because it's not crunchy glitter that is unsafe for the eye. This is before the age that anybody was putting glitters in palettes, beauties. Yes, I'm that old. And this one, yeah, it's just beautiful, beautiful palette. I don't know what happened to Colourpop that after this kind of color story, they went and did like super generic stuff. They were doing some amazing stuff back in the day, and this has been my all-time favorite. As I mentioned, I duped this palette in this channel. I'll put this video in the description box below because maybe somebody wants to dupe it. But this has maintained the ranking of my favorite Colourpop palette of all times. And I'm gonna bring it out and use it a little more. Beauties, this next one I'm pretty sure is no longer available, and it was a very unique color story from this brand, and this is no other than Mainstage LA Girl. This is the Desert Dream Edition. I mean, obviously I would love this kind of color story. This came out, I think, in 2021 or maybe late 2020, but I bought it in early 2021, and I'm pretty sure it's no longer available. Beautiful, beautiful color story. The shimmers are insanely beautiful and buttery. And I just did a declutter of my palettes, and I just cannot let this palette go. It's an amazing palette. It's, as you can see, it's super colorful, which is not something you'll find in the drugstore very frequently. And I honestly haven't seen LA Girl do something like this colorful, this grungy, this fall appropriate, this different, pretty much ever. Which is why I'm keeping it, and I wish they would either bring this back or do more of similar stuff. And yes, beauties, we're gonna have some more greens, and the next one I want to talk about is Zelon from Glam Shop. There are a lot of palettes from Glam Shop that I do not own that I wish Glam Shop brought back. And this one is definitely one of those. It's this super, super beautiful green palette. You all know, if you've been watching my channel, I love Glam Shop mattes. And I also generally love mattes. A good colorful matte is a blessing. So I'm just getting a lot of joy from using these mattes. And then also the shimmers are super, super unique. Honestly, beauties, I feel like I bought this palette at a drugstore price, like for $11 or something, and it's amazing. It has a few very sparkly, very different shifty shades, and it's just an amazing palette to travel with. You can definitely do a few different types of eye looks with it. You can travel with it. It's just an amazing palette, and as I mentioned, I love the mattes. Yeah, definitely, definitely Glam Shop. Bring these 9 pans back, the ones that you got rid of last year, please. Please. I don't know why Glam Shop is doing more neutrals. In fact, I don't know why everybody's doing more neutrals. Am I the only person who's thinking that? If you feel like these brands are just going more neutral, write below to me in the comments, because isn't Colourpop also doing a lot of neutral palettes? I feel like Colourpop is doing that too. Beauties, drum roll. Last but not least is Tribe from Juvia's Place. Yes, beauties, this palette has been a favorite of a lot of people for a while. And I knew a few people who really wanted to buy this palette and could never get their hands on it. It's a beautiful palette with a very interesting color story. You have also some very interesting shimmers here, as well as sort of a neon yellowish, greenish kind of color. And this is definitely a palette that I have been enjoying using a lot. And in fact, I'm thinking I'm gonna do some fall looks with it as well. But definitely a palette that Juvia's Place, if you are listening to me, I know a lot of people want this back, so just bring it back already. Okay, beauties, with that we come to the end. So that was the 6 palettes that I wish these brands would bring back. Thanks for watching this. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already. I love you all. Have an amazing day, and until next time. Bye.